And just keep your eye on the page. No, Jackson, you're not going in there. She doesn't need any help. So we are now live streaming, Claire. Perfect. So we get rid of that. And click onto that. We are, there we go. We are now on. I'm just going to turn my volume down. Perfect. So thank you so much, Claire. You are very inspiring, and you will be very inspirational with this talk that we do this evening. This week's topic is unhealthy habits. And I know that we touched base previously to this live as I invited and wanted to know if you'd like to come on and talk about your experiences. So thank you and welcome. And it's really nice to have you here. So yeah, we've got a couple of viewers already, which is great. As I explained to Claire before we come live, that if anyone's got any questions, please throw them down in the comments box and we will endeavour to answer everybody. But are you okay, Claire? How are you feeling?
I'm good. No, I'm good. Yeah.
Perfect. So Claire, am I right in saying that you are still a model? Have you slowed down a bit after having your daughter?
Yeah, I only really do odd little bits here and there now.
Yeah.
I'm more a full-time mum and I care for John as well. So
yeah. So you're very busy, aren't you, in your life? You've got your job, you've got, you know, you're married and you've got your daughter, and you know, your life is just incredible. I love watching it through Facebook, especially with your daughter, because is it gymnastics that she does?
Dancing, gymnastics, everything.
Everything, yeah. And she's so achieving such great moves as well, isn't she? And it's lovely to see. And actually, I saw that picture the other day of when was she lay on her front and then she managed to get
her legs up.
Yeah. That reminded me of the picture that I really wanted to ask you about. Were you in skinny, tight leather, red trousers and your legs up in the air? Was that?
That was actually I did a latex catalogue.
Wow.
So it was all the suits were made to measure, and yeah, it was hard to get in and out of them.
So how long have you modelled and when did it start? What sort of got you into modelling?
I modelled from when I was a little girl. So I modelled from when I was sort of 7, on and off. And I was a dancer, and I left home when I was 12 and had a scholarship to go and train in a ballet school in Hertfordshire. Wow. And then I went to Italia Conti and did musical theatre in London. And then I got scouted, but I was always, ironically, my measurements were always too big.
Wow.
So, but then one agency took me on with the measurements that I had and didn't ask me to lose weight. And I ended up being the biggest paid model on the books.
That's amazing. That's amazing. If you don't mind me asking, Claire, so what measurements are you looking at really, or what back then, what were you looking at?
Well, it was a bit different back then because it was all the skinny waist, heroin chic. No, you had like Agnes Dean type beam pose. So I was a 28 waist and a 38 hip, which is a size 10.
Right.
And I'm 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
And they wanted me a minimum, maximum, 26, 36.
Wow.
Which is just not what my body's meant to be. Yeah. But I worked for years. I did my Ministry of Sound cover, everything. I got so much work that my agent was telling the skinny girls to put on weight to be like me. So I didn't really have a huge issue. I worked really well and I loved my job, and I used to stick 2 fingers up at anybody that told me to lose weight.
Amazing.
Yeah. But then I actually got sick at about 25.
Right, okay. And with the sickness, was that an illness that was a physical, or was that something that started mentally?
So I went on a diet I split up with a fiance, and I had stage 3 dyskaryosis, so precancerous cells, and I was quite traumatized by that.
Yeah.
And I think I was on my own, and I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna just go for it with modeling. And I'd sort of got to the top of my game in commercial modeling, but to do fashion, and I had sort of like the face for high fashion, but a commercial body.
Right.
So I used to dodge between the two. But quite often when I did editorial fashion, they would all moan that I was too big. And then I just sort of went on a diet, and then I turned vegan.
Yeah.
And then I started living off negative calorie foods, so foods that your body takes more calories to digest.
Yeah.
Then I started, and I also had, I never went to the gym when I modelled till I was 25. Yeah. Never stepped foot in a gym. It would have been my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
And I went to the gym after I split up with my fiance, and I noticed the calories on the machines, and I never even thought about calories beforehand. I love my food. Like, I'm a big foodie, like I eat a lot. And I just think, oh, that's my Galaxy bar or whatever. And then it went from doing a 20-minute exercise to an hour on the cross trainer. Then I was doing bums and tums after the cross trainer, and walking to the gym, walking back from the gym. And so then I ended up living off these negative calorie foods. I went to South Africa to model before this when I was vegan. And I lost nearly 2 stone while I was in South Africa.
Wow.
Very quickly. It came off very quick. But by the time I came back from South Africa, they then wanted to send me to China to work. And China, you've got to be tiny. Right. So I had to send weekly pictures of me in my underwear. So I'm about 10. I fluctuate between 10 stone 8 and 11 stone 6. Okay. But I try not to weigh myself.
Yeah.
My natural weight is probably about 11 stone when my body's happy at. And I was 9 stone 6 when China said, okay, she can come. But at that point, I was already just living off blueberries and raspberries, and I was on a pro-anorexic website. Right. And me and a girl on there used to starve ourselves for 3 days.
Wow.
And just drink sugar-free Red Bull. And I'd still go to the gym for 3 hours a day.
Wow.
So I went to go to Germany. I was going to go to Germany for 3 months, South Africa for 3 months, and then go to China and work a season there. It was all set up. And I went to get on the plane, and I didn't make it on the plane. I collapsed.
Wow. Well, I'm not surprised that, you collapsed with what you were putting your body through, and that it's just giving me goosebumps. So did you get to the airport and were making your way to the plane, or did you collapse before that?
I collapsed at security. I didn't even make it on the plane. But I went a week later.
Wow. What did you think?
I was so stubborn. Yeah. I was so anorexic. I was so poorly. Like, I couldn't have gotten out of it. I couldn't put food in my mouth. So I went to Berlin and spent my whole time in Berlin. But if I get upset, I'm sorry.
No, don't apologise.
Spent my whole time in Berlin in between castings and things, walking around like past food places, and I'd make myself walk in, or my anorexia would, and have a look at the food, and my head would say to me, you're never eating that again. You can never have anything like that, you fat pig. And I actually would buy food and put it in the bin to test my willpower. Yeah. And then I started having really bad panic attacks, so I had to get a flight back, and I still didn't get any help. So I lived with John because I'd was too frightened to live on my own because I was so cold. I was going to bed wearing about 4 layers of clothes and socks on my hands because I was freezing. And I used to have dreams while I was at John's that I'd eaten lots of food, and then I would strip off, and I had 2 sets of weighing scales in my bathroom. I know I was 8 stone 10 at this point.
Wow.
And then I would weigh myself, and only when they said that I weighed that, I'd know that I dreamt it because it was so real.
Yeah.
And I used to have to put a towel down in the bath to go in the bath because my pelvis stuck out my back so much.
And it was so painful.
It was sore to have a bath, yeah. And John didn't have a shower, bless him.
No. Yeah.
So, and my friends were just, they didn't know what to do with me.
How did you feel, Claire? Did you know you weren't well, or were you just saying to yourself, this is normal?
I used to ask my friend to ring me at 4 o'clock in the morning because I was frightened I was going to die.
Wow. Wow.
And it was only when I started hallucinating that I got help.
And is there any hallucinations that you can remember?
Yeah, I was walking John's dogs down his drive and I kept thinking cars were coming down and I was dodging the cars. Sounds completely crazy, but my brain must have just been so starved. I mean, this was like a year of not eating at all. Like, I couldn't even put a rice cake in my mouth. Like, John used to like it on a morning because I would have half a sachet, you know, the little sachets of oats.
Yes.
I'd have half a sachet with Splendor and water, but then I would go to the gym for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And he used to sit and wait by the windowsill for me coming home because he was that scared I wasn't going to come back.
Yeah.
But when I started hallucinating, I went to the GP, and because my BMI was really low, but it wasn't low enough for me to get inpatient care on the NHS. So I had to spend about £30,000.
Wow. It's criminal. That is criminal.
On rehab.
So that to me is what is driving me to do a service and to be able to try and come up with an income so that we can support people who are in difficult situations, which has stemmed from mental health, and it could be massive, because I feel that our National Health Service is so finally stretched, but in the wrong ways with its money. It's not providing the support that is so desperately needed. And it's my bugbear. That really, really is. Because when is it too late, Claire? Because if you hadn't have spent that, it would have been too late.
It was a nightmare. Even in rehab, I used to check myself out once a week.
Yeah.
Because and I got banned from the kitchen because I would only eat berries. So I would like sneak off and eat berries, but I wouldn't eat anything that they gave me.
Yeah.
And I had to stand. In the end, they said, right, what are you willing to do? And I said, I want to watch the chefs make my food because I don't want it contaminated with butter or anything. So I used to stand over and watch him boil my cod in water and boil the green beans. And then even then, it used to take me about an hour and a half to eat it.
Yeah.
It's not as simple as just eating. I couldn't pick up food and put it in my mouth. I couldn't do that. And also you have something called refeeding syndrome. So they gave me, you know, like a build-up shake.
Yeah.
But I ended up in hospital because my body couldn't take it. It was 330 calories. I know exactly. I remember it.
Yeah.
But my body couldn't take that amount of calories in one go.
Yeah.
So I ended up in hospital with that. And then when I was doing sit-ups in rehab in my room in secret, I had like a lump coming out my tummy. And that one of the girls, because I wouldn't go to an eating disorders rehab, an anorexic one, because I didn't think I was thin enough.
Right.
So I didn't want them to weigh me because I thought they'd think I was too fat.
Yeah.
So I went to a one called Promise. I went to two. I went to the one in Kent and threw my toys out the pram and demanded I was never going back ever again. And I went to the one in London because they'd got Claire from the one in London to come to the one in Kent to try and help me because I wouldn't do anything.
Right.
So that I went to the doctor and he said, no, you've just got so little fat on you. It's actually your organs coming out. You can see them.
Wow.
I was tiny, absolutely minute. Like a lady, because I used to go into Starbucks to get a black coffee with sugar-free syrup as a treat.
Yeah.
She, when I put on a bit of weight, came running out the shop when she saw me past it and gave me a cuddle and said, I didn't think I was ever going to see you again.
Oh, I bet you that was quite shocking to hear.
Well, the trouble is when you're getting better from an eating disorder, the last thing that you want anyone to tell you is you look well, you look healthy. It sounds like in your heart of hearts, you're just loving the fact that that person has put on a bit of weight.
Yeah.
But it made me relapse every time because my anorexic voice would just go, you fat bitch, blah, 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 blah. So it would send me into like panic.
Yeah. Yeah. So when did you get to the stage where you knew about the panic and you thought, got to stop you to get better?
I've only just put two and two together and realised that I had a huge issue with anxiety while I was going through it. The voice in my head took a long time to go, because when you're refeeding, you go through all these different phases. So I would like wake up in the middle of the night and my body obviously started getting the taste of food, and your body obviously wants you to put on weight and eat, and you go through a binging phase.
Yeah.
So I would wake up in the night and literally scoop like peanut butter out of a jar, but then my head's like just it, I can remember looking at John, who I love more than anything in the world, because I'd eaten a Lindt bunny. I was screaming at him going, why didn't you let it kill me? Like, I can't do this. I cannot do it. It's too painful. And even when I married Chris, before I married him, so when I met him, I had bulimia.
Right, okay. Yeah.
I was still poorly.
Yeah.
So I struggled. I switched from being anorexic to bulimic because I was eating, but I didn't want to put on weight.
Yeah.
So I was still over exercising. I was still, Chris has picked me up off the bathroom floor. I've had the door shut with Chris and told him to leave me alone until I finish being sick.
Yeah.
Only I think the last 18 months I've completely switched.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't have that voice in my head anymore. And I refuse to be horrible to myself. I refuse. Today, honestly, I've had one of them days where all I've wanted to do is eat chocolate.
Yeah.
What did I do? I just said to myself, right, you're going to be having a chocolate pig out day today. Who cares? And just go with the flow. And I just deal with life day by day.
Yeah.
And, every day is different. Like tomorrow, I might want a smoothie for breakfast, or I might want more chocolate. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
That's incredible.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So where do you think, so from your perspective, Claire, do you think anorexia, bulimia is all very much linked with mental health?
They're all linked.
Yeah.
And there's serious issues on social media with clean eating.
Yeah.
That's called orthorexia, all this fitspo, people taking pictures. Because I was one of them girls through recovery that had an Instagram account that was all, I thought I was well,
Yeah.
but I wasn't. I had an 8-pack, I had everything, but I was putting pictures of every single little thing that I ate in a day. Who actually cares? Who cares? No one cares. Like, just do your own thing, because I don't want my daughter going on social media and thinking, oh, so and so, this is how I eat in a day, this is how this girl eats, so that's how I should eat. Like, it's all mental health. Like, over exercising is just a way of purging calories. Living your life by rigid eating rules, clean eating, like not eating certain food types. And it's eating disorders are mental. They are a mental issue, and they're a lot deeper than your weight.
The physicality,
Your weight is a symptom.
Yeah.
It's in here that something's not right, and you're deeply unhappy about something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I had things that I will never talk about, that I know were linked to the reason why I took everything out on me and just hated myself. So I wanted to shrink myself so I didn't exist. And now I'm just like, actually, I'm a nice person. I do anything for anyone. I'm never going to feel guilty of the life that I have. And I deserve to eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, every snack I want, whatever else, go for a walk. Like, and I deserve to enjoy my life.
Do you know what? You couldn't have said it any better, Claire. And that's just like choked me up. When I met you physically, we had a moment together and I saw that true beauty and like loving person within you. And one of the things that sort of irritates me is the stigma towards models, that, you know, oh, they're beautiful, so they think they're better than the rest of the world. And when I met you, I didn't know that you were a model, and as we got to know each other better, you are an inspiration, because you share to the world that you're not this stereotypical person. You've got feelings, you've been through the traumas. You're such a loving person as well, that you've changed like everything for me, the game changer. You know, I would be quite intimidated to go up to a model and speak to somebody, and that's through my own demons and being on antidepressants. I put on a lot of weight, and, you know, I kind of went the other way and thought, well, I don't feel good enough. I've gone from like a size 10 to a 20, but actually finding that happiness doesn't matter, does it? As long as you feel healthy.
Well, I think you'll notice on my Facebook now, I put quite a lot of things about judging people and making assumptions of people and having opinions on other people's lives, because actually it's if I want to go to the moon tomorrow, that's my choice. And it's got nothing to do with anybody else. And part of the reason why I got so sick was because people hated me as soon as they met me. Girls especially. Girls especially. And I'm such a big softie. I just thought I must be the most horrible person. But that's what I mean. Anorexia, eating disorder, it's about being unhappy. And people did judge me wrong a lot of the time. Don't get me wrong, I can be quite outspoken and I have really strong beliefs in things. But I live by the motto, live and let live. And I just think whatever you've got, you make the most out of it. But I think people also, when I was anorexic, labelled me a spoilt brat and thought it was attention seeking and one thing and another. And, you know, it's taken me 10 years to get to here now. But now I've got to a place where actually I will never let anybody else make me feel that way to hurt myself again, because I want to show my daughter that the best thing in life is just to be happy, and it doesn't matter what you look like or anything. She said to me last night, actually, when I was going to bed, kids come out with like, we've already had the where do babies come from, and then I got last night, she said, Mummy, why are some adults fat And I sat her down and I said, well, I said, the thing is, Olivia, honey, I said, is that everybody comes in all different shapes and sizes. And I said, and some people are bigger and some people are smaller. I said, but it doesn't mean that there's a reason behind everything. I said, people are just built differently. And I said, and I get bigger and smaller, you know, my weight fluctuates. People, I'm 6 foot tall, so you can't tell as much.
Yeah.
But you know, it's about educating your children. And with my eating now, I never want Olivia Honey to see me push pasta off my plate. I never want her to want to not share a pizza with her and sit and eat lettuce.
Yeah.
But she also eats sea bass and salmon and vegetables, and I literally practically shove broccoli down her neck because you need that for your body. And that's the way. If I was gonna give advice about recovering from an eating disorder, you have to fix here, and then here will take care of itself. Because when you're happy up here, you get into a place where everybody emotionally eats. Everyone does. When I'm due on, like, I eat like an absolute, that's what the issue is.
You feed me and run.
And you know, and emotionally, and you know, if you go out, if you're happy and you go out for dinner with friends, you eat a lot more. I used to cry the next day, cry all morning. Oh my God, I can't believe what I've eaten, blah, 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 blah. I need to go and do 6 gym classes now and calculate all my week after that, right? Try and work out roughly how many calories I'd had, and then work out for the next week how I'm going to lose all of them calories to keep myself stupidly skinny. Now I go out, I have a good time, and I wake up and I laugh about it the next morning.
It's really sad that you had to do that when you were not very well, because did that replace the memory of the fun time that you had with your friends at that time when you woke up?
Oh yeah, like I missed out on probably 5 years of my life, I think. And that's definitely, I mean, I actually isolated myself from all of my friends because I didn't want to go out and eat. Quite often I would go out on a night out and drink black coffee. And yeah, it just honestly, I think probably 5 years of my the last 5 years of my 20s, I spent most of it crying.
Wow. Yeah.
But in rehab, they said a saying that stuck with me forever. Well, 2 really. You have to give time.
Yeah.
And you don't get time back.
Yeah.
And I just think, you know, I'm not gonna cry because I enjoy food. Like I'm here once. I'm going to enjoy it. I do have healthy. You were talking about healthy habits. I think that's important. Like a really nice long walk. You don't have to pound yourself in the gym. I can't gym. I've really injured my ankle, so I can't work out. And I'm usually quite. I enjoy doing class, so because it's like dancing.
Yeah.
And I can't, but I haven't gone into like panic mode.
Yeah.
And you know, before I'll be absolutely distraught and like planning my next month's how I'm going to get through it without working out. And I think a nice walk is one of the best things that you can do for your mind as well, because I sort of put things in boxes in my head when I go for a walk and go, right, well, you don't really need to worry about that. So why are you worrying about that? And, you know, worry about things that are really important, like, you know, your health and everything else.
Yeah, and you are dead right, because when you do go out for a walk at the start, this is something that I've been drumming into Ella, my youngest. I don't want to go for a walk, Mum. And it was when they weren't back at school and Granddad would come, and my Granddad's like a proper hiker. Come on, let's go out. Oh, I don't want to go, Mum. And I'd say to her, you tell me how you feel when you get back. And every time she got back, she felt amazing. She said she was fresh. She felt like she had energy and she'd really enjoyed it. And you're so right, Claire. I think if you can do something that you enjoy that is of exercise. See, I'm allergic to the gym. I've tried it and I just can't get my head around it. And I just don't enjoy it. So I think I'm not going to spend money at it when I don't enjoy it.
No.
getting the dogs, going for a walk, perfect. That's all I need. Yeah.
And I think as well that another thing that's important about eating disorders, I don't think it's put into the same category as addiction.
I was going to ask you about that.
By the general public, but I went to a rehab for addiction, and we were all put through the 12-step program, and it is the same. It is exactly the same. I think this is why I'm so non-judgmental as well, because there were people in there that were heroin addicts, alcoholics, the nicest people I've ever met in my life. I went on holiday with one of them afterwards, and it's all the same. It's an addiction. It's to replace hurt, and that's exactly what it is. And do I miss it? Yeah, sometimes I miss the control. I felt really vulnerable when I really let go, and I actually mourned, like sort of grieved, because I knew that I was taking the next step. And weight wise, for me, the next step was actually getting rid of my 6-pack.
Wow. Was that like a reminder of like a continuous workout? It needed to be there.
I could never ever, I do not have it in me. I look back at pictures, and this is when I was well.
Yeah.
I look back at pictures of me on holiday, totally ripped, look perfect. Well, skinny, but perfect. And there's not one bit of me that wants to be that person, because it was really bloody hard work. Took over my life. It tires me looking at it, because I was so unhappy, but I was too frightened to take. Every step that you take in recovery is so scary. Putting food in your mouth is scary. Accepting weight gain is scary. The scale and the addiction with the scale, I used to weigh myself, right, I'm talking 10 times a day.
Yeah.
You know, I'd have like sneak off upstairs and strip myself off and weigh myself just to stop my panic. And now I talk to myself all the time positively. I look at my belly, I'm like, call it my fun pouch.
That's brilliant. I really love that.
Because I get to have fun and have a life with this belly. And I didn't get to have one with the other one. I no longer look at other people that are in that place and that is their life, because that's fine. That's what they choose to do. I choose to have a balanced life, and I do eat well, but I also bake cakes with my daughter and eat half of it afterwards, like you do. And I'm coming
round for one of your infamous roasts, I've got to say. I get quite
I'm good at a roast. But the letting go of what you perceive as perfect is the hardest bit. Like, now I've got the weight on me and I've stopped gymming. I actually, this is between us and the whole group, I'm really bloody enjoying not exercising.
Good for you. Good for you.
I'm really enjoying it. I have so much more time in the day, and like I always looked like a scruff because I was just shoving my hair up and putting my gym clothes on in the morning, and now I actually spend about 45 minutes getting ready, and I feel nicer. But I have a couple of lumps coming out my trousers, but I'm not, by the way, I'm not saying I am quite lucky in that I'm 6 foot tall, and I'm not a big girl naturally. That's just my natural build. But at the same time, I'm by no means skinny. I have, but I actually, like, I would choose this over having a ripped body any day. Yeah. And it's that to me is a place that I never ever thought I would get to. I thought I was stuck. And they call it, so 46% of anorexics recover, and a big chunk of them stay where I was. Right. You know, keeping yourself to a very low weight and a very low body fat, but you still manage to have a life. So to everybody else, you're just normal and healthy, but you're just skinny and ripped.
So I'm masking it over, sort of thing.
It's sort of the next step is just to, and look, my advice to people going through it is, honestly, once you actually get the weight on you and your body changes, it's a bit weird at first, but give it a month to 2 months. Once you've got through all the other phases of recovery, and I don't even think I mean, I'll go to a step class maybe because I love dancing, but I've got no desire to have a ripped tummy or anything. I'm not really bothered.
So you dance, your step classes, basically it's a part of what you were doing from a very young age anyway, isn't it? It's a hobby almost that you could.
I love taking class, yeah. I've been a dancer since I started dancing when I was 2.
Yeah.
So and I am a very I very rarely sit down and chill, but that's another thing. I can actually lie down on the sofa all night and stuff now and have like a pajama morning. I wouldn't be able to, because I wouldn't let myself my anxiety would be so strong that I'd be like this all the time.
Yeah.
But no, I think I've got like a nice, I'm not going to say how I live my life is not how somebody else lives their life. I'm not, for example, I'm not a big pasta lover, but give me a chocolate fudge cake and I'll have the whole lot. Like, do you know what I mean? Everybody's different. And that's what annoys me about social media and all this. Look at me, I'm doing this, 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 and this. Even this is what you should be putting on your skin and your hair and everything else. I switch off from all of that now, and I made a new Instagram account and only have friends and family on there. I don't follow anybody who is taking 60,000 pictures of themselves looking perfect and this, that, and the other. It's just not reality.
No. And like you say, you've missed your life, haven't you, when you're doing that, because you're constantly thinking of perfection and what's the next picture going to be, and so you'd miss out on your daughter as well, and she's incredibly important. What's
the most important thing in your life, like that you enjoy today, or that you keep working for your body to be perfect in 6 months or a year's time? So you miss out on 6 months or a year to have this body, and then what do you do? Because you can't keep it, because you have to keep on working at it like that all the time to keep it like that. So it's a lifetime commitment. And you can make healthy choices. You know, nobody needs to have pie and chips or fish and chips every single day of the week, do they? Like, you need your vegetables and everything else. So there is sort of a lifestyle thing, but you can't maintain that level of dedication without missing out on, you know, so all your friends go out for dinner and you spend the whole week panicking about it because you're going to drink wine and cocktails and have a meal, and you're probably going to get a pizza on the way home because you've got too drunk, and then you're going to hate yourself for the next, like, there's seriously, it's a really vicious cycle. And I honestly, the harsh realization for me looking back, when I close my old Insta, but sometimes I'll like go and have a little look, and I can't really look at it, and I can't actually look at many of them pictures because all I see is a very sad, lonely, confused. I used to look at people that weren't like me, that were didn't have any eating issues and didn't work out, and they laughed all the time. They had so much fun. And I used to think, I wish I wasn't me. I wish I was them. I didn't want to be me anymore, but I didn't know how to break through it.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's sad, isn't it? Because people do sit and look at others and think, God, look how beautifully thin this person is, and how stunning her hair is, and her makeup, and I want to be like that. But you've just hit the nail on the head. You're actually missing out on what you are, you know, and that's about loving you, isn't it, as a person, and being your own best friend.
The most ironic thing about me is, and anything I say, I'm being completely honest and truthful. So when I lived in London, I'm not joking, boys would jump off trains and run after me and come and ask my number, right?
Yeah.
I have never in my life thought I'm beautiful, and that is truth, because I've never had it. It was never an importance of mine before I got sick. I didn't give a flying shit. I had short bleached blonde hair. I used to go like that with my hair. I hardly wore makeup. It wasn't my top of my priority list was my friends and having a good time, and mainly drinking quite a lot of wine when I lived in London. And when I got sick, people, they kind of judged me and thought, you know, what have you done? Like, you were the most beautiful girl and you've totally ruined yourself and blah blah blah. And people misunderstand me because I'm not about what I look like. I couldn't give a damn. Like, I want people to think I'm a nice person before anything else. And when you sick, you know, I posted pictures, people thought I was attention seeking. I needed help. Like, I needed people to like them pictures because I felt so bad in myself. You'll rarely see a picture of me on social media now. Like, I very, very, very rarely take a picture of myself because I've got no need to. That I don't need all them likes. That I needed them. They made me feel something because I felt worthless, and I couldn't care less now. It's odd. It's a really strange illness that
very misunderstood.
And it can happen to anyone, you know. There's pregorexia as well. So unfortunately for me, when I got pregnant, I dealt with it really well, and I called my body my Olivia Honey's house.
Oh, such a lovely way of looking at it. Yeah.
So it was her house, and my cravings were cheese sandwiches, cake, and buckets and buckets of ice cream. So that's what I had because that's what she wanted, and I wanted to look after her. And I called my body a house, and I used to talk my way through it, and I used to be like, you know, and actually that got me a few steps further in getting well. I didn't really handle the baby weight very well because I ended up getting very, very skinny. But my daughter keeps me well because I look at her and I think, I just want you to be happy, and I just want you to live your life, and I don't want you to ever worry about anything that you don't have to. And I want you to make the most out of your life and enjoy it and laugh with your friends, and they're the things that are important. That it's not really important, like it's important how you feel as well. So like, my build is bigger than a model size, so I could look at a skinny model and think, oh gosh, you know, call her a bitch because she's not big and actually like that. I don't. I look at even people that are where I was, you know, with the whole being ripped and everything. I just think, well, that's where they're at, and as long as they're happy. And I think people just need to be less judgmental and more understanding about mental health, because even when somebody's weight restored, their mind could be still anorexic.
Yes. Do you know, Claire, that's actually something that's really good to go on to. Is that a part of body dysmorphia?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I had the worst, the very worst. Like, I used to literally, like, I'd be in a ball on the floor after looking at myself in the mirror, screaming, because I saw myself so big, and I don't have that anymore, actually.
Good. Yeah.
I don't see myself all different sizes anymore, because it was a bit like, what's that film, Shallow Hal?
Yes.
It's a bit like that. So body dysmorphia is another thing, but body dysmorphia itself is a disorder without having an eating disorder.
Wow. Yeah.
So you can have body dysmorphia and your eating can be completely fine, but you see yourself, you know, or even like you see your nose bigger or stuff like that. It's a massive thing, body dysmorphia, and a lot of people do have it.
Yeah.
Example is, you know, if you take a picture at the wrong angle.
Yeah.
The angles are not good. And that's just the angle of the picture, right? But in your head, every time you look in a mirror, you're seeing a different version. I never saw myself the same. I would feel like after I'd eaten, I'd feel like my cheeks had come out here, and that suddenly I was just getting really fat, and I'd sit like this all the time, and I'd feel my shoulders to try and feel my bones, or I'd like put my hand on my back to feel my pelvis coming out my back, and that used to comfort me. It's almost like it's punishment, and because you feel guilty for things, and self-destruction. It's complete, like, you don't deserve to be happy.
Yeah, that's massive. That is actually, you know, it's one of them. I've got borderline personality disorder, and one of the things before I really got into knowing what it meant and the signs and symptoms, I would get happy and press the self-destruct button because I'd think, I don't deserve this. I need to destroy myself, and I'd push everybody away. And me and Andy, thankfully, have been together 4 years, and we've gone through some real serious difficulties because of that pressing of the self-destruct button between the pair of us. And you've got to work through it, haven't you? You've got to be kind and gentle to yourself. And if you can really get to know who you are as an individual, then you can prevent that self-destruct button from going off. So that's really important. Yeah,
like, I couldn't honestly care less what people's opinions are of me anymore. Like, the people that are close to me know me and know me for who I am. And anybody else, if they want to put the 2 cents in, if it's negative or whatever, go straight over my head now, because I know who I am, and it's taken me a long time to get to this point. But like I say, you can't, with anorexia, you can't treat your mind until you're at a certain weight, because you need to have the weight on you to then work on this. But then you can't finish off treatment. This has all got to be sorted out and dissected and everything else. But I think, like, that's pretty much sums it up, really. You know, like, now I just think, well, I missed out on 5 years of my life and nearly died, like, a few times, and I wanted it to kill me. Like, and when I was in rehab, Claire sat me down because I can remember she was crying because she didn't know what to do with me. I even got John to bring me scales in a bag. I talked him round. It was very, like, manipulative. Be like, oh, they'd make me feel better, John, if you could just I feel awful about that now. I would never do anything like that. But that's the other thing. When that person's not well, they are not that person themselves. Like, I was a completely different person, and I wish my friends and stuff that I had while I was semi better, I wish they'd met me now.
Wow. Yeah, so they can see you on the other side.
Well, they're still friends, but I wish they hadn't had that first meeting with me. Like, I wish they'd met me now, because I'm not a different person, but I don't have any of my anorexia in me.
You're just a happy person now, and at peace with yourself, aren't you?
Yeah, well, like I said, I think because I missed out on so many years of my life, I just see today is just like, I'm never going to get today again. Like, I'm never going to get today. Like, even if it's crap.
Yeah.
Because we all have really bad days, don't we? We all have days where everything goes wrong. I just say to myself that it's one day, and, you know, and being grateful as well, because you've got so many things to be grateful for. And one thing that I did that helped me, I did it. It's going to sound really weird. So instead of looking at people with perfect bodies and stuff and perfect lives on Instagram, I looked up the opposite.
Right. Okay.
I looked up people that needed help, people that were going through stuff, people that were not, sounds really weird, but support groups. They would just come up on my newsfeed, and I started just looking at people, people who've got relatives and raising money for that they don't know whether they're going to see Christmas, and you realize how lucky you are, and like, why am I whinging about the fact I maybe haven't got the perfect body, because the perfect body to me means I can't have a life. So you've got to realize how lucky you are. But people used to say that to me when I have to backtrack. People used to say that to me when I was really sick and I wasn't in the headspace there. I was just like, you're making me feel even more guilty for being poorly. So you have to get yourself right up to the point of nearly recovered. And then the way to look at life really is to just count your blessings. And you really don't get, like, I'm never going to get today back with my daughter. Today's gone.
Do you know, Claire, that's a really valid point. A friend of mine who is also on the group sheet as a person-centered counsellor, she explains that she has an alarm that goes off at 12 o'clock every day, and she literally sits for 5 minutes and she says 3 things or thinks 3 things that she's grateful for. And we've adopted that. So I have my alarm every day. It's a bit different now because the girls aren't here every day, but at least once a week I'll like, come on, get in the office. What are we all grateful for? And we all have to take it in turns to say 3 things. And it can be like the dog's health, because they bring us so much joy. One of mine was, I finally got a pair of curtains for my room so that it can keep the warmth in and block the light out. And it's just little things like that, isn't it? That you don't need extravagant gratefulness. It's the little things that add up that count. Oh, Claire, you've gone really quiet. I think you had your hand.
I had my hand over the microphone. Just like to say, just if you've got a friend who's got an eating disorder, and overeating, by the way, is the same as anorexia, because we all got treated for the same thing in rehab. Binging is an eating disorder, and binging and purging, obviously, and whatever. There's just millions of them. My advice is to just be there for them. Don't push them. Don't declare to them, try and include them, but let them do things in their own time, unless they're really poorly and very low weight, and obviously they need serious help. Because I had hypnotherapy, body talks therapy, I went to counselling every week. I mean, I've spent so much money on getting well, but hypnotherapy is one of the most amazing treatments. That got me. I went to body talks therapy and hypnotherapy. And after my hypnotherapy session, I walked into Starbucks and it was the first thing I'd bought and eaten.
Wow.
So I just bear with them, because if they want to get well and they see the right people, then they will get well, and it'll be worth waiting for.
Just for anybody that suspects somebody might be having a difficult time, what signs and symptoms would you sort of seek someone to look out for?
A compulsion to exercise, so anxiety around not being able to exercise, missing a workout, having to do that, and hiding food, declaring they're going vegan, vegetarian when they're not. That was a big thing for me. I went vegetarian, then I went vegan, and then I started cutting out everything. Being gluten and lactose intolerant when you're not, just little sneaky ways of and then obviously if you think somebody's losing weight, if it's perfectly clear that they are, and they're eating in front of you and disappearing,
going to the bathroom to be safe.
And then laxatives is another thing. I had a laxative problem as well. Just all ways of getting rid of calories and things, really. I mean, it's really difficult because I wouldn't let anyone help me until I got so poorly that I didn't have a choice. I used to put lettuce on the top of a tuna can and suck the lettuce, so I wasn't eating the actual tuna and just having the lettuce, just crazy. But it takes a long time. It doesn't just happen overnight. It takes a long time to get sick, and it takes a lot longer to get out of it. But the recovery from it, I just wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. But it's possible. It is. Anything's possible. I helped a girl recover that was in inpatient for years. She was 15, and I went to see her once a week, And then when she was allowed out, I'd treat her to a haircut and stuff to make her feel nice. And she's married and got a child now, and
That's incredible.
And she's fine. So it is. But then at the same time, you've also got, like, I know it's always in me. So stress or anything like that, you've got to be even more on your guard and do the opposite of what you've just got to be more aware. So I know, could I relapse? I don't know. I don't know.
But you're thinking about it, aren't you? So
I'm aware of it all the time.
Yeah, you're not becoming complacent, are you? So you're on your game, aren't you, really, to not.
I work on myself all the time. I read books all the time on body positive, being body positive. I've just read a book recently, I can't remember what it's called, about a girl who had eating issues for all of her childhood into her teens, and then she decided to basically fuck it and get well. And I read intuitive eating books. I read all the time. I positive mind books to just sit, because we're so busy all the time. We've got kids screaming and you're doing everything for your children. The best thing that you can do is get off your phone and everything, sit and get your head into a book. But you've got to be in the right frame of mind as well. But if I feel like I'm having a wobble, I order a book.
Yeah. And that's like the positive reinforcement, isn't it? It's the educational side of it. And you're not closed off to say, there's nothing more I can learn. You're constantly going down that road, aren't you?
You need refreshing all the time. It's like an alcoholic. They can't just have one drink.
No.
I can't diet. I can't diet for toffee. And you know what? I'm so glad I can't. And every now and then I'll throw a paddy and I'll declare that I'm going on a diet. Because we're women, aren't we? We feel rubbish sometimes. I'm like, that's it, I'm going on a diet, blah, blah, blah.
Number one.
I last a day, like, I can't do it. And I said to Chris that I know I'm well because I can't do it. But of course I have hissy fits and stuff like that every night. I'm a woman. And we're all the same, and it's around us all the time. Like, I'm sick of seeing it about, diet shoved. You get over Christmas and then it's just like an absolute influx of diet. But what you've got to remember is these people are making money out of making you feel crap.
It's making money out of vulnerability as well, isn't it? Yeah. It's no good.
Everyone that does everything has got a reason behind it. Influencers on social media, that's not their life. They won't be like that all the time. Like, nobody's life is perfect. They'll have really rubbish days and stuff, but they're making money from that. Modeling, you're making money from it. And I just think being comfortable in your own, anything to do with being comfortable in your own skin, everything else. But I'm an addict to eating disorders, so I have to. And when I was in rehab, we had to go around in a circle every morning and go, hello, my name's Claire, even though we knew everybody. My name's Claire and I am an addict too. And I am and like an alcoholic, can't pick up a drink, I can't diet, and I have to make sure I see my day. I'm like, right, what choice am I going to make today for my lunch? I mean, I love bread. Would you believe? Because I didn't eat it for a long time. I love bread. And John comes around for lunch and I used to make something separate for him and something separate for me because I wouldn't eat bread. But it's bloody lovely.
Because you can do it all together as well.
And it's so much easier.
You're utilising your time better as well.
I had avocado and salmon and eggs on toast today, and I was just giggling away to myself while I was making it, because John would normally go, oh, you're not having any toast or do you know whatever else? But John loves seeing me enjoying my food and enjoying life, and he's been a massive influence because he just thinks life's too short and he's just like, why stress about anything you don't need to? So yeah, I just I think, yeah, the thing is with food is that if you restrict something, these are just little things that I've learned through trial and error, lots of trial and error. If you restrict something, you will end up eating 4 times as much as it when you eat it. If you don't have pizza and you go, right, I'm never having pizza again. If you go to a kid's party, and I know this because I've done it, and you get let loose on the leftover party food, you're going to stuff your face with pizza.
Yeah.
Whereas
It's
intuitive eating books are brilliant. Like, I really recommend them. There's like a workbook that's really famous if you look on Amazon, and you can work through it and you write down like how your feelings are and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I honestly think there shouldn't be good and bad foods. There should be foods that, obviously I have a banana most days of my life. I didn't today because I've eaten chocolate for most of the day. But most days I have a banana, partly because when I was anorexic, my potassium was almost at 0.
Wow.
And my salt was like 0. I was really, really, really not in a good way. And since then I've had a banana every day, but I don't know whether it's because the potassium's got into my head and I'm like, oh, banana, but I mean, and I have avocado a lot because it makes my skin better, and I notice a difference in my skin from it. So I see things more in that way, and I think, well, I eat a lot of berries, and apart from they're really expensive, and and I try and eat lots of vegetables and stuff, fish, for my skin, and for my hair, and for all the other magical things that your body does that it actually needs nutrients for. But then I also eat bread, I eat chocolate, I eat pizza with my daughter. Saturday night we're having a hot dog and movie night, and I'm going to buy the biggest, fattest hot dogs that the big ones that you get at like the Christmas market. And I really enjoy it, and I enjoy food now, and I see it as a pleasurable experience, and I refuse point blank to feel SHIT, because I've enjoyed sharing a moment with my friends, my daughter, my husband, John. It's changed my relationship with John, even because I sit down and we share the same food, and I'm not making 2 separate meals, and he's going, no, are you not having the same as me? Because he wants me to eat the same as him because he saw me really sick. So
and that's beautiful. Just want to let people know that John is 86, is he?
89.
Wow. And he is an amazing, incredible man, and you guys have the best friendship that I see, and it's just wonderful. And for him to have seen you then and now, that must bring so much joy to his life as well.
Well, you realize a lot. I went for a walk today, and I was thinking in my head, because I love wine, like I really like wine. I'm not dependent on it. I haven't switched over, but but I just really like wine. And I was thinking on my walk today about this talk, and then I thought, you know what? I really don't like gin. I do not like gin, but I would drink gin because it was
so little in calories,
as many calories as the wine. Nah, or what I used to do was measure my wine in a jug. Measure 125 ml, and it was all calculated and written down. And now to have that freedom to go, I'll say to Chris, should we only have half a bottle of wine tonight? Let's be good and only have a bottle between us with our dinner. And then I wake up the next morning, I'm like, we've had 2 bottles, haven't we? Like, and not have that panic, like that sheer panic of I've done something really naughty, like a kid at school. I've done something bad, because I haven't done anything bad. I've just had a really nice night with my husband, and we've enjoyed a couple of bottles of nice wine.
It is so lovely to hear that you have come out the other side, and so lovely what you've shared. I'm so grateful, and I know that we've had a lot of viewers on, and you've been phenomenal with the truth, and you're going to help so many people. I'd love to get you back on to do some more work with you and some more interviewing. It's you've really opens my eyes up. I'm actually just completing a self-harm and suicide course at the minute, and one of the things that you hear about the eating disorder and anorexia, but you don't actually realize that it's a form of self-harm as well.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. So this has been so educational for members, but at the same time, it's been so educational for me on a personal level, because I'll then be able to use this information for when I hopefully can flourish and go off into the world and continue to do what I do. But you honestly, the raw emotion that's come and the honesty that's come from you is just, I'm ever grateful, and I know the members are as well. You've been amazing, Clare. Would you like to say any last words to the group?
The only thing that I want to say is that a good way to look at life is that it's perfectly imperfect.
I love that. I love that. That is brilliant.
And being perfectly imperfect is much more fun than being perfect.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you on that one. Do you know what? You just keep doing what you're doing, Clare. I know that you've got beautiful pup on, and she's having pups as well. And, you know, so you're going to be very, very busy. That's brilliant. But if you ever need anything, you know where we are.
Thank you.
We will definitely do something else again. So thank you so much. Enjoy your evening, darling.
Thank
Love you lots. Take care, Clare. Bye, darling. Bye, love.